I'm 23 and I've never had a boyfriend, and if you relate to this, please comment so I feel less alone. But thinking about having to tell my boyfriend where I'm going sounds like the absolute worst thing I could ever have to do. You mean I have to let him know I'm going to Target, gotta get the essentials, or I'm going out to dinner with my friends tonight, I'll text you when I'm back. You mean I have to check in with him? That sounds like the absolute worst thing I could ever possibly have to do. Or am I alone in this? Because if I am, like, that's cool, but does anyone relate?
Man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense.
Imagine living an existence that's so broken that the idea of basic communication with a significant other makes you so sick that you feel the need to record a TikTok video on the subject while you are driving. Now, I hate to break it to you, sister, but the man wanting to know where you are and what you're doing kinda, sorta, technically stems from his instinct to care about you and to make sure you're safe. That's one of his responsibilities as a mate, is to protect you from harm. Now, I shudder at the number of bodies you've accumulated to break your mind to such a simplistic state, but at the same time, I'm also kind of unsurprised, which is weird. Modern women assume that relationships are bad because all men are controlling, conniving, tyrannical, oafish man-children. But my question to you, woman, is pretty simple. How in the hell would you know? You said it yourself. You're 23, you've never had a boyfriend, so what would make you know anything about relationships? You know what? Don't bother answering. I don't think I can handle hearing the word "like" repeated 13 times in a single sentence.
Well, ain't that a nice way to talk to a lady?
Oh, I didn't know I was talking to a lady.
Never show your high standards to a man like that. Like, I know many girls who have high standards, and for example, when a guy offers them to have a coffee together, the first thing they do, they say, I don't go to coffee dates, I go only to dinner dates. And they call it a high standard. One thing you should know about high standards, you don't need to speak about them out loud. For example, have you ever seen on Chanel boutique that it's written like for rich people only? Or I don't know, in Monaco hotel that if you are not wealthy, don't come nearby? No, never, because these places, they don't need to speak about this. Everybody already knows it because of the prices.
The poor are a filthy, thieving people.
You know, I might just be a simple intergalactic bounty hunter who apprehends intergalactic fugitives from space justice, so I'm not the foremost expert when it comes to luxury goods, but I've always been under the assumption that a product's price tag will pretty much tell the world their preferred clientele. It's subtle, but it gets the point across. I don't imagine that the expensive hotel in Monaco would have an ad campaign that says, "The Grand Monaco Hotel of Monaco. Stay the hell out unless you're rich." And that's because the rates for these lodgings speak for themselves. The same can't be said for these entitled broads, though. If you walk around with a price tag on your body, you're just providing false advertising. You want men to buy you things while they should expect nothing in return except some dry conversation, but at least the broad who posts a photo of herself with a price tag next to her is direct on her services. And that woman will always be cheaper, yet more pleasurable than you.
That's why I praise the Lord for prostitutes.
Because of how things work in there. Same with you. You don't need to say my standards are like that. You can be with me only if you are like that. To show your standards, it's enough just following those. For example, when a guy offers you a coffee date, you can just not answer. Or if you like the guy, you can say that, no thank you, I already have plans for this evening. You don't need to be saying, no coffee dates for me, only dinner. Because honestly, it's a low standard and it's kind of cheap.
Give me some money. Give me some money.
So let me get this straight. If you say you only deserve dinner dates and refuse to go on coffee dates, that means you're a high-value woman who deserves the finer things in life. However, if you tell that man that you only do dinner dates, then that makes you cheap. And the only way around this is to blatantly lie to any man who offers you a cup of coffee, and by doing so, you get no coffee, no dinner, but you're going to be looked at as cheap. Sister, I gotta tell you something. You're already cheap. You're demanding free food. You want an expensive dinner, but you don't feel like you should have to pay for any share of the tab. You expect to live a life where men pay for everything, and you don't have to lift a finger because you think you're pretty. I mean, I get it. You wasted all your money on expensive perfumes, makeup, and designer clothing, and didn't take food into consideration. But if you take the prospect of having to pay for your own damn food as an insult, then that is the textbook definition of cheap.
Or for example, if your standards is to date with man who gives you flowers like regularly, it's not about saying this to him every goddamn day. It's about maybe saying this one time that I will be so much happy to get these flowers, it makes me happy. And then if he didn't follow by this, but if it is your standard, if it's important for you, you just leave him. Because most of women, they say, I have these standards, but instead of leaving when this standard is not fulfilled, they just start saying it out loud one more time, and one more time again. If you don't like it, just leave and don't agree on a last, because having high standards means living by those and not constantly letting other people's water those. What do you think, girls? Let me know in the comments.
You know what? I'm really not that big of a historian, but I've always been under the impression that flowers were a gift that you gave a woman who didn't have the luxury of being able to bathe regularly, so it would be easier to mask her stench and make her tolerable to be around. But then again, I could be making up history just to fit my own worldview. I mean, why not? Everyone else does, apparently. And that goes double for the modern woman who alters her own perception of reality just so she doesn't feel the need to compromise on anything that might make her feel insecure. She likes to call these things standards, but they're really not. They're expectations. She expects a man to provide everything that she desires and then some. But if that man has any needs that need to be met, then he's a toxic, controlling student of Sensei Andrew Tate. They are most certainly not standards. They are double standards. And you're allowed to have them as a boss bae ass queen, but don't be surprised when we call you out on them and avoid you, thus forcing you to pay for your own stupid dinner. Because that is what we are going to expect of you.
Check, please.
Very specific text messages to make a girl go from sort of interested to super interested. So here are examples of texts that intrigue. That is what you want to do to a woman. So here are specific examples of texts that intrigue a woman. I just saw the best thing ever. Another text. You don't even know what's happening in my life right now. ... Another text. It's all your fault. Winky face, or that face where it's like two eye, like two eyes and then like a small eye. It's hard to explain.
Like people talking. You say, huh? What are you talking about?
Just say it's all your fault, winky face. But like that other face is better. Or a moon face, moon emoji. Yes. She'll just say, what's my fault? Or something like that. And then you just do like a wink or like a cute little like emoji. I want to show you the actual emojis and use it at the end of the sentence. And you guys follow me, and don't forget, if you want coaching, let me know in the comments and Instagram.
And you get a reaction from people who say, huh? What are you talking about?
Hey lady, I don't think you really know what you're getting yourself into when you talk about dudes texting the best thing ever. We really don't think like you. When we talk about seeing the best thing ever, it can range anywhere from seeing side boob at the local pool to a 10-minute long ice hockey brawl, or even Operation Delta Force 3, one of the best movies around. It's about 6 dudes who run around South America getting into obscenely long gunfights with Italian dudes who pretend to be Colombian drug lords. There is no plot, only gunfights. And there's just something about dudes running around irresponsibly using fully automatic weapons while causing international incidents that just resonates with a guy like me. And if you really need a seal of approval, this movie co-stars Gavin Hood, and he directed X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yep. There he goes. And if that isn't ample payback for what that rat bastard did to Deadpool, then I don't know what the hell is. Plus, it's got a train that crashes into a helicopter. Now that is filmmaking. And now I'm not about to say that you're actually going to like Operation Delta Force 3. I'm just saying it's one of the best movies around. And yes, there's a difference.
Okay, things men say to try to sleep with you, part 2. I just went to Costco and the guy was like taking my picture for the card because I had to get a membership card. He's like, wow, you look so photogenic in your picture. I always look so bad when I take these pictures. You guys, this is the picture. Like, what? I have never seen a worse photograph of myself ever.
I can see behind your shirt.
God, here we go again with the modern thoughts going to Costco. I mean, what is their obsession with the Costco? Is there some kind of an international conspiracy that's utilizing the power of internet thoughts to attract young people to get Costco memberships in an attempt to try to replenish their memberships as the old people who frequent their establishments succumb to the pitfalls set by Father Time himself? And then, in turn, they end up buying all sorts of bulk consumer goods and discounted off-brand clothing to bolster the company's profits as the world descends into madness, and they use these broads as an attempt to attract these young men to either oogle and boobage or try to find a wife as they distract themselves from the burning hellscape known as modern Western society. Hath we uncovered the mask of the true identity of mine sworn enemy? Doth thine enemy be named Costco and has declared thee my ultimate nemesis? What's most likely the case is these thoughts have wasted their lives and have nothing better to do with their time than record TikToks and buy bulk-sized cans of treatments for their yeast infections. Sometimes the simplest explanations are the best ones.
Ew, what a mess. Ew, ew, ew.
Why Pearl is available? Because even though she says the right things that men resonate with, she's masculine as hell. Men like feminine women. Pearl is an advocate for what men want, but she's not what men want. Feminine women do not go online and sit on podcasts and argue with men all day long. That is not what men want. Ideally, men would have someone that's very laid back, chill,
This is the proof that even when they pick you, they still don't like you.
What?
I honestly don't see how men not wanting to wife up Pearl Davis somehow equates to men not liking their significant others. I mean, that dude did bring up a few good points. Men are attracted to peaceful, feminine women who will add value onto their lives, but that's nothing new. That's been the truth since the beginning of civilization. But middle-aged Mabel here is so bitter and hates herself so much that she cannot handle the idea of what men actually want. So Mabel, allow me to ask you this question. Let's say a man does find a woman that he wants in his life. He wants to provide for her and protect her and be by her side for life. He's willing to offer his home, his money, and his resources to her. If he wants to do that, then why would he sacrifice all of his peace and those resources for a woman that he doesn't like? That seems rather counterintuitive to the whole point of finding a mate, but I'm sure middle-aged Mabel here has a clear and concise reason as to why she hates her husband. I mean, why we all hate women, so go ahead and educate us, Mabel.
And men want the quintessential chill girl, which doesn't exist. It's a front. What he's referring to is somebody who won't challenge him, somebody who won't question him, someone who will simply follow his lead blindly. They don't want someone with a passion. They don't want someone with knowledge, because whether you like it or not, Pearl is passionate about what she talks about. She feels she is knowledgeable. It's trash knowledge, but regardless.
Say what now, what now?
Well, middle-aged Mabel, I am impressed. Your projection abilities would make even Tyler Durden himself green with envy. Self-respecting men are not looking for passionless drones. What they are looking for is someone who is going to trust and respect them enough to lead. Now, Mabel, you're confusing snarkiness and simmering anger for passion, and that's because the man you married clearly wasn't the man that you wanted, and you blame him for that, because in your world, middle-aged Mabel, you're convinced that you are the best person to ever walk the earth since the inventor of cinnamon rolls, and anybody else who questions you is some form of a hateful oaf. But I don't see how I can be a hateful oaf when you're the one that's bumbling around through life and endlessly complaining about how miserable your life is because you hate what's become of that life. It's not my fault that you're incapable of leading. Don't blame me for your failures.
When a man says they don't want somebody who argues, that means they don't want somebody who questions them. I'm just glad they're finally saying it. And now we all know, for the girlies, that even if they pick you, they still don't like you. They certainly don't respect you. They want you seen and not heard.
Mabel, I know that you spend your off time just sitting around and inventing new reasons to resent your husband, your children, and more or less your entire life, but come on. Men have been saying exactly what they want in a woman for at least a few hundred years. It's literally no secret. Men want peace, kindness, and someone who is going to trust and respect them. They want a woman that they actually like because they're going to make each other's lives easier. But middle-aged Mabel, you are incapable of making anyone's life easier because you want everyone to be as miserable and empty as you. In your eyes, you are incapable of feeling happiness. So under that rationale, nobody around you should be allowed to be happy. So you project your anger, your insecurities, and complete and utter bitterness onto every single person you see because deep down, you know that everyone around you is capable of finding happiness, but it's impossible for you. So Mabel, you can go ahead and complain all you want. We see you and we hear you. And we are all laughing at you. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Maybe ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and share this video so we can get the word out and give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, gentlemen and gents, and until next time, peace out, homies.